Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the weekend preview. We've got George Gorman, Andy Newton, and Peter Michael alongside us as we preview the weekend's racing. And last week, Andy Newton said we're going to rely on the listeners to cause a massive gamble. With TT Quanti, little did he know he would go off 85 to 40 favourite and win from 18 to 1.
Sensational, boys.
Another double figure price winner for the Final Furlong podcast. W's in the chat if you were with us. W's in the chat anyway, whether you're with us or not. Smash a like on this episode. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. A new special with Gavin Lynch is coming your way very, very soon. And we've got some other big specials coming your way as we preview the Christmas racing. Hit a like on the video. Smash the subscribe button. We really appreciate your support of the show. Let's try and get you some winners for the weekend's racing, shall we? The Tingle Creek at Sandown is where we're going to kick things off. It's the feature race of the weekend. Of course, memories of the brilliant Moscow Flyer crushing his enemies back in that vintage Tingle Creek. Only 4 Irish winners in the last 25 years. It's 9 years since the last Irish trained winner, but that was under-so for Willie Mullins. Is it going to be Il Etait Temps this time around, George Gorman?
Yeah, look, there's not a whole lot between them on ratings. It falls you to the side. Did L'Eau du Sud run a blinder last time? I think they gave him an RPR of 170 for that, which I think has got to be pushing it when Jonbon so clearly underperformed and Matata took the last with him. So in terms of that, you've got to decide whether you think he's worth that mark. Jonbon is clearly much better at Sandown than basically anywhere else. I think his last 5 runs at the track, he's recorded RPRs of 170, 171, 172, 172, and 169. Compared to obviously at Cheltenham, I think he's been beaten 3 times at odds on out of 5. It's just clearly not quite the same horse there. The cheap pieces are an interesting development.
Yeah.
But basically on all known form, the last time when Jonbon ran at Sandown, he was beat by Il Etait Temps anyway, which is a 5th grade 1 for him, a 4th from 7 starts over fences at the time. He's won twice on English soil as well. He's going where he's going to travel. The track suits him. He's got the class. And he recorded a career highest RPR on his only ever start at the track of 175, which is higher than Jonbon's ever achieved. It just really makes you sort of think that the cheap pieces are going to have to bring a career best out of Jonbon. And is he looking like a horse ready to run a career best at the moment? I don't think he is. And just L'Eau du Sud, you've got to think that mark's inflated. So for me, the only thing when I was trying to find anything against Il Etait Temps was his 0 from 2 in the month of December. To say that's clutching at straws is putting it very mildly, because on both occasions he finished second to an odds-on stablemate. He's 3 out of 3 in November. He's never run in January, and he's 2 out of 3 in February. So it's not the time of year. I think it's just a freak statistic. I think Il Etait Temps just wins.
He probably does. I will say, I think that the 4 to 1 currently available about Jonbon in Ireland with 1xBet, if you're betting in Ireland, obviously you can click the link in the episode description to take you there. That's going to go. This horse has been sent off favourite in his last 7 starts. Now, he has been beaten at odds on in 3 of his last 4 starts, so proceed with caution. But eligible to improve, second run off a layoff. Eligible to improve, second run off a wind up. He gets cheek pieces for the first time. He's bidding to be only the second horse in history to win this race 3 times. Is 4 to 1 just too big about Jonbon, Andy Newton?
It probably won't be 4s. Yeah, I think there will be people latching on, and yeah, like you say, he's looking for the 3rd win. The last horse to win 3 on the bounce was Flagship Uberales, which bizarrely was trained by 3 different trainers over that period.
And one of those was at Cheltenham.
One of them was at Cheltenham.
That's right.
No chance. Hobbs and Nichols. So that's probably will never happen again. Changing trainers 3 times 3 years. Anyway, like George
Our
said,
good personal friend Kikijo Bracken will accept that challenge.
Will he? Oh, come on, maybe. yeah. Actually, the way he's going. Look, there's a stat against Jonbon in terms of the age. 18, the last 23 have been between 5 and 8, and obviously he's 9 now, just like Liberty Hunter and Boot Hill. So that's against Jonbon. As George pointed out, he's a much better horse at Sandown. His form figures, they're loads of ones, and then it was just that second, the only time he's been beaten there in the celebration last time. But he's taking on, both the horses who have beaten him in his last 2 races. Obviously, L'Eau du Sud as well beat him at Cheltenham. So it's sort of like, do you think L'Eau du Sud is going to find a bit more improvement? Potentially. It was quite impressive at Cheltenham, but Jonbon did sort of fluff his lines there again, back at Sandown. I think the rain's going to help him as well. Probably looks like a horse, let's be honest, he's almost 10. In a couple of weeks, he's going to be 10, Jonbon. Probably wants a bit further already, but, still never finished out the top 2, is he? So it is just a tricky one. And then, look, L'Eau du Sud, what does that mean? It means southern water, which, Sandown is getting a lot of that as well at the moment. So that could be an at winner. And Il Etait Temps translates to it's about time, and maybe it's about time Mullins had another winner, because bizarrely, as you pointed out, Emmet, he's only had 1 winner of the Tingle Creek, which is quite surprising, which was Il Etait Temps back in 2016. And I just think, look, this horse now, it's 6 from 8 over fences, comes here off the back of 4 wins, slammed Jonbon, didn't he, and in the celebration chase. Ground is okay. He stays further if it's going to turn into a bit more of a stamina test in the ground. And 7-1 for the champion chase. I mean, then you've got the niggles of, he's not the greatest at Cheltenham either, is he? So is that going to be value? I don't know. I mean, we've had 6 winners of this in the last 23 go on and win the champion chase. So it has been a good guide over the years to finding the champion chase winner. But I just think Mullins is going to win this again. It's just, and I think Jonbon will probably come second, and he'll just carry on his run of not being out of the top 2. And even though I like L'Eau du Sud, I just think it just needs to find a tad more against these 2, personally.
Well, he was so impressive in the Schlur chase, and he has won 3 times on the back of, he's won 3 of his 4 starts off a layoff of less than 25 days. So he has won in quick succession, turning around pretty quickly. But there's no denying his best performances are off a layoff and when he comes in fresh. So whether he can bounce back remains to be seen. That Arkle form so far has worked out really well. Django By, Only by Night, Mashborough, L'Eau du Sud himself, they've all gone on to win. So his odds are going to be fascinating. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Jonbon goes off second favourite, which obviously means L'Eau du Sud then drifts. And Il Etait Temps does set a very tall standard. So who are you going to side with? Peter Michael?
Well, when I had a look at this, the first thing that stood out to me was 4-1 Jonbon. Does look big, but then the more you think about it, I mean, 22 days ago, he just didn't look like Jonbon. He wasn't Jonbon. And then he's had another wind up. He had a wind up before that race, but after his previous race. He's had a wind up after that race. He's got cheek pieces on him. It's only 22 days ago. It's not as if he's had, 4 or 5 weeks to get over it and try and get back to the horse we know. So it's a hard one to figure out, because he does stand out at the price. But, I mean, Jesus, on his last run, he should be 20-1, if you know what I mean. Oof. So
you could argue his last 2.
Yeah, well, I'm just going by this season, what we've seen this season. And I don't like the fact that he's had another wind up done. Plus, I think Sandown's going to be very, very heavy. So it's one of those that either 4-1 is going to look an absolutely ridiculously good price, or he's just going to, you're going to say, how could you back him after his last run? I'll be leaving him alone, to be honest. I mean, the thing that's put me off Il Etait Temps, even though I think he's probably going to win it, is, if I remember rightly, Mullins doesn't start well in the UK. He normally tends to have horses going over to look absolute certainties, and they just bomb out, completely bomb out. Now, this horse has had a run this season, so it's a little bit different. So this horse has shown his well-being, and I think he's only lost 2 races on the fences, so he's going to take a good bit of beating. But look, value-wise, I'll probably have to go with L'Eau du Sud, because, I mean, realistically, it's a 3-runner race. The other 2 don't have a hope in hell. And if I'm kind of against Jonbon, if I don't, if I think he's too risky to be backing, I'm getting 5-2 in a match with a trainer who sometimes has had, Willie Mullins, as I said, the last few seasons. He hasn't done well at the start of the season in the UK, but this could be different. This horse has had his prep. So yeah, I'll go with the value, and I think that's L'Eau du Sud, because I think it'll boil down to him and Il Etait Temps.
There's a couple of horses running this weekend that I think it's almost too obvious they're just going to win, and Il Etait Temps is probably one of those. So he's going to appear in some kind of multiple, some elaborate multiple. Il Etait Temps is going to be in it. But I'm afraid to say that this is going to be a really scumbag betting weekend for me. This is going to be a real degenerate weekend where you're looking back at yourself afterwards and going, what are you doing? Like, why'd you do that bet? That was such a stupid bet. Or that stupid bet ends up paying a fortune. 4-1 Jonbon's crazy. So I have to do a multiple that includes him in some way. Now, the thing that worries me a little bit, it's not so much the cheek pieces. It's more, why are you still in the Peterborough? Why is that even on the agenda for you? You're going for your third win in this race. And they're looking at stepping you up and trip to the Peterborough. Don't like that. But 4-1's too big about him. So I'll back him tonight. Hopefully we'll do a TD Quanti Lucky 63 again and repeat the dose. But Il Etait Temps will be almost a banker leg of another Lucky 63, which I'm almost crazily confident about. But more on that to be revealed. Let's go to 120 at Sandown. We'll take you to the Pertemps Network qualifier. Why do we use that pronunciation? Because that's going to be how it's going to be described on Upping the Ante next year. Isn't it, Tony Keenan? More on that to come. Maybe we should all just get stuck into that particular gamble. Best of luck to Keenan. He would be great on it, and I think he'll probably get it. And he would very much deserve it too. This episode, though, is brought to you by 1xBet in Ireland. If you are betting in Ireland, there are more than 7,000 events for you to be getting stuck into every single day. Fast withdrawals, new customer bonuses, all kinds of incentives for you to join 1xBet. They're available for you now. The link is in the episode description. All you have to do is click that. It'll take you right there. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus only. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. Kikijo did us a massive favor a couple of weeks ago on the Final Furlong podcast. He is back for more. But the favorite for that race was an incredibly well-backed Supremely West, who was then given a interesting ride, shall we say. But he is unbeaten in 4 starts going right-handed. He's back for this race. He was sent off 5-4 the other day. You can back him right now at 1xBet in Ireland at 6-1. Does that tempt you, George Gorman, or is it all about Kikijo?
Neither, I'm afraid. I'm going to be going with the Lord Maid here. Like, she's improved drastically since upping to 3 miles. Form figures of 2-1-3 over the trip. She's recorded RPRs of 127, 131, and 131. Her previous best over shorter trips was only 123. The fact that first time out, like that 131, she matched the RPR of her winning final run of last season, with that reappearance third in behind horse that's in this race and Impostoir. It's Chasing Fire and Impostoir. Like, that's surely got to be a sign the 7-year-old's improved a bit more over the summer. The fact she was able to match her best start of last year on her first start of this year. She was only a neck behind Chasing Fire last time, who had a run under his belt already. And they reopposed off the same terms here without the very, very well-backed Impostoir to worry about. In terms of the ground, she was an 8-length winner of Maiden Hurdle on heavy ground at Clonmel. And crucially, Tom Lacey, after a real quiet year last year, is absolutely shooting the lights out this year. 31% strike rate currently, 62% runners to form. I just have to have a horse. If there's a horse I half fancy at the moment of his, I'd have to have her on side. One I give a small mention to is Ikarak, who's going to be forgotten about because it's the second string to Ollie Murphy. Up £4 for a nose victory will put people off as well, but he was in front a long way from home that day at Lingfield and may have needed his first run as well. I think it's possible with stripping fitter and having a lead for longer that he may turn out to be value for more than the £4. He's also a winner on heavy at Otoy and Newcastle, so possible the ground could bring out more improvement as well, but the main selection will be Lord Maid.
Okay, I'm going to go with Supremely West off a mark of 138. They backed him into 5-4 the last day off the same mark. Hopefully there is still improvement to come from him. Obviously he's got an awful lot of ground to find with Kikijo, but he's unbeaten going right-handed. He goes well on soft ground and the Skeletons are winning everything. I really like Kikijo. He's completely unexposed as well. You could argue, or at least he's still unexposed. Callum Pritchard takes £3 off, so that somewhat mitigates the £7 rise from the win the other day. But on this occasion, I think I'm going to be with Supremely West, Andy Newton.
Yeah, Supremely West. I mean, he could easily bounce back, like you say. I mean, he's like backed off the balls last time, and then it was a bit of a strange one, wasn't it? People looking at the bride, and I think there was some excuse about tracking the wrong horse on the wrong ground or whatever. I can't remember what it was now that came out, but it could easily bounce back. And 12 stone. No, my only sort of niggle with Supremely West is 1 win in 10. I just wonder whether he is sort of as good as people are hoping. Can race a bit keen and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, Kikijo was one that you smashed out of the park last time and put up, which was great. And there is an interesting stat with this one as well. In this race in particular, for some reason, claiming jockeys have had a good record in this. They've won 7 of the last 11, right? So that's a big old chunk. And they are putting Callum Pritchard on, who is more than capable, taking off 3. I think it went up £7 for his winner last time out at Cheltenham. So, effectively only £4 up. Hobbs, he's won this a couple of times in the last 4 years as well. So that's a good sign. And favourites have not got too bad a record either. 5 of the last 11 jollies have gone in this race as well. So I do think I'd much rather go with Kikijo. More potential as well. He's only had 5 runs, hasn't he, over hurdles, and won 2 of those. Absolutely doing that's just up in class. Obviously, you can't rule that out totally with being Nichols. And like George said, the Chasing Fire, the Lord Made, tie-in form with Impostoir is eye-catching, especially after that once won the long distance as well. So I probably agree with George. The Lord Made probably might just overturn that. Now it's got run under its belt. And then the last one, probably just to mention, is the Venetia horse. I mean, look, they had a bit of a shock in November. They're hoping to turn it round. They haven't quite fired. They had an odds-on shot beaten today. But this Green Book is 2 from 2 at Sandown. Yeah, last time we saw it was in the Pertemps, I think, at Cheltenham back in 2023. So would be a super-duper training performance, but just purely based on liking Sandown for whatever reason. I think it's 2 from 2. Just keep an eye on it and the betting. It hasn't run for 996 days. But look, Kikijo's the one, I think.
Okay. Might swing back to Kikijo, the way you were so adamant there about a horse that I really like, and particularly with the Callum Pritchard claiming off £3. But 6-1 about Supreme West for a horse that was sent off 5-4 the other day. That might be interesting. Peter?
Yeah, first of all, I just wonder, Andy, do you sleep at all? I mean, these stats you're coming out with are incredible. Fair play to you. 7 claimers, the last 10 winners have been written by what, 7 of them have been written by claimers.
11. You got me questioning now. I've got to check. Yeah. No, yeah. Look, have a look on the thing. Yeah, Freddie Gingelk was a claimer last year. Before that,
all right. We don't need to go through them all. It's grand. Keep going, Peter.
Yeah. Look. Sorry. Look, for me, Kikijo here is pretty solid. I really like the last win, and as Andy said, Emmet, you pointed us in the direction of the horse. And when I took a closer look at him, I liked him. I liked his win. He goes from the front. He looks like an absolute mudlark to me, the way he goes about his business. He's an out-and-out stare. He's up 7, but Callum is taking off 3, so in effect he's off 4. And Callum's brilliant for his £3 claim. Yeah, he looks solid. He looks a solid each way bet. He's going to go prominent around the track like Sandown is never a bad thing. He'd love the ground. He'd stay all day. You have to respect absolutely Doyen. He's done nothing wrong this season. The ground is a little bit of a question mark because I think it's going to be basically heavy. He's ran well on it before, but he's also disappointed. Supremely West, the last time he was running, I questioned his wind, and I'm still going to question his wind. Now, the way he was back that day, I mean, I thought I was way off questioning his wind, but he ran as if, he's a horse that his wind wasn't the best. But it'll be interesting to see if support comes for him again. But off 12 stone, and if I'm questioning his wind and heavy ground, yeah, it wouldn't be for me. But as I said, the market support last day was unrelenting. Kikijo for me here, and he looks a solid each way bet in my mind.
I'd like to do one of those transfers that the Upping the Ante boys do just before they get to Cheltenham, where they miraculously transfer out their selections. Just forget these horses we've been talking about. Here's 2 substitutes that we put in, and then these are the ones we talk about. I'd like to switch to Kikijo because the 2 boys have completely persuaded me, and I did have him the last day, so I'm allowed.
Yeah, in fairness, he's your horse.
Yeah. I'm allowed to sway back to him. That's not how you're supposed to do this. But that's how we're going to do it, because them's the rules. 150 Sandown is the Henry VIII Novices Chase, the Grade 1. Lulamba is 7-2 with some firms for the Arkle. Then 6-4 on has got to be an absolute gift. Surely, George Gorman.
Again, I'm going to have a go at him. Be Aware was only beaten half a length in the 2024 Novice Championship hurdle final on his only previous visit to Sandown. Lump Sum's only visit resulted in a blowout in the Imperial Cup. I think Be Aware's extra chase start giving him the edge over that horse. In terms of Lulamba, Be Aware's best performance was last time out behind July Flower. That came on soft ground, which gives hope that he'll handle the going as well as the track. Lulamba's completely untried on ground this soft on English soil. Anyway, he had a run on heavy in France, but we don't really know if it was heavy or not.
Yeah.
Aaron Ram's hurdles form doesn't match up to Lulamba and lump sums. And Relieved of Duties did very little to boost the form of his Cheltenham win when blowing out on that horse's next start. I just think this might be the time to get him. I don't think he'll beat him come Cheltenham, but I just think soft ground might just sway it in his favour. And there's not a whole lot between them. Giving away weight to him is definitely not ideal. But he's still only a 4-year-old. It's just a value thing. I think there's still enough questions about Lulamba, whereas Be Aware has been there, done it, bought the T-shirt, and Skeltons keep firing in winners on a Saturday. It'd be small stakes, but I'd take Be Aware to beat Lulamba.
Funny, the only one that would interest me against him is Lump Sum. Last year's World Champion hurdle winner. He finishes runner-up to Sergino in the fighting fifth, runner-up in the big Newbury Handicap as well. He was rated 147 over Timber. Looks like he's a better horse over fences in the back of that win. Now, he needs to improve again. Sam Thomas, obviously going well. He hasn't had that many runners lately, but he's got winners still. Dylan Johnston keeping the ride. I really like that. Really, really like to see that he's keeping the ride. And he could be anything. That was a 16-length win on his Chase debut. So he's very interesting. But Lulamba would want to be winning this. And he want to be winning it easy. Andy Newton.
Should be, like I say, 9-2 for the Arkle. We've had 7 of the last 21 winners of this go on and finish first or second in the Arkle. Last one to do the double was Edward Stone, not that long ago, actually, in 21-22. So Altior's obviously done a double as well in this race and then gone on and won the Arkle. So, I just think that, the £6 that he gets, Lulamba jumped all right, didn't it, at Exeter on debut. I think that Be Aware was a solid effort against July Flower, and it had to give her £7, I think it was that day as well. So that was a good effort. But I just think Be Aware, look, 1 win in 9. It's just one of those horses that's sort of there or thereabouts all the time, and might be a tiny bit better. I think maybe in time over a bit further. I don't know. We'll find out. And I'm with you. I think Lump Sum is the one for the forecast here. Did all right last time at Uttoxeter, and the second, that Jax Jr. came out and absolutely bolted up the other day. So form looks solid. That's 33-1 for the Arkle. Be Aware 66s, and like you say, Luamba's 9-2 behind Kopek. So that should shorten up after it wins this, I reckon. Yeah, Lulamba for me.
How far does Lulamba win by? Peter Michael.
Yeah, I mean, look, as you said, Emmet, he'd want to be winning this, and he'd want to be winning it, without too much of an effort. But there's no, I mean, the horses taking him on are not mugs either. You've made a case for Lump Sum. I mean, they're very, very good horses. I wasn't overly blown away by Lulamba, I have to say. Now, I know in the end he's won by 10 lengths, and, you can't ask for much more than that. But Henderson has been extremely bullish about this horse, and when he has a horse going novice chasing and he's extremely bullish about them, I mean, he's brilliant at that. He rarely gets it wrong. So for that reason alone, I think Lulamba is going to build on that run at Exeter. And I mean, he jumped well in the main, but I wasn't, I wouldn't have put him down as a natural. But I think Nicky was on record in saying that the horse was a natural. So I would much rather go with his take, because he sees the horse every day and he'd know. So I'd expect a better jumping performance from Lulamba. I'd hope to see it, because if he doesn't, show that he's a slicker jumper, he might struggle in the better races over 2 miles. But I do expect to see it from Saturday. But I wouldn't. I think it's just a race I'd watch. I wouldn't be backing him at 4-6, and I wouldn't want to take him on either. So it would just be a race I'd watch and try and learn from it. And I would love to see Lulamba put in a flawless display and win 6 or 7 lengths.
Well, considering the fact that he's second favourite for the Arkle, I mean, if this was Kopek de Boards in this race, you'd be expecting an absolute exhibition. So it's going to need to be a win at least from this fella.
Oh yeah,
and he's getting £6.
Cool.
Nicky's won this with Altior and Jonbon in the past. Lads, if you're backing him at 7-2 for the Arkle,
his first winner came in 1990 before George was even born, I think, in this race.
There's a depressing thought.
Yeah, depressing.
It's not close either.
Don't
5 years before I was born.
don't complicate your mind. I'd say just Lulamba. If you want to take him on, I think it's lump sum, but the boys have made their cases as well. But he'd want to be winning. There's a race at Aintree that I have very little interest in having a bet in. But it's live on ITV, so we're going to cover it for you. It's the listed juvenile hurdle. Treasure Planet is the favourite, and I guess he's interesting, but who knows, George?
Yeah, for me, Treasure Planet didn't really... I'd be disappointed on Paul Nicholls' behalf if this is one of his brighter lights. Like, well beaten at Chepstow on debut, and he won by 18 lengths next time out, but it was a class 4 at Ludlow, and he was odds on. I think the same can be said for the Ross O'Sullivan horse, to be honest. Sort of fell in a maiden hurdle at Gorham Park before being stuffed at Down Royal. It wasn't favourite, but it was 100 to 30. It was fancied at the very least. And just sort of for that reason alone, Edelac is the most interesting to me here. Like he was the best of these on the flat. I think he was rated 86. And you've got to think Dan Skelton must think something of him to run him in a listed race on hurdling debut. And as I said about the previous source, he keeps firing in these Saturday winners. And none of the other ones are screaming potential superstar to me. I'm not saying he will be. But I'm saying he certainly has potential to be a... He might, at this point, he hasn't proven he's not a graded performer. Because I'm verging on thinking the other ones might just be nice handicappers. So I'll probably take a small bet on him. In terms of if you wanted to bet each way, 2 bets. If the rain stayed away, you can forgive Lord's last run on heavy ground. He was very progressive before that. He beat a horse of ours called Galactique at Fontball, who went on to win his next 2. So Lord would be interesting if it was no worse than good to soft. But you're talking 2 places, so it's not that appetising. But Edelac for the win for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm more interested in that horse. I'm more interested in the Skelton horses anyway, to a certain extent. But also, the Dam won at Group 3, and the Grand Dam is a brother to Estimate, or is a sister to Estimate. And Eve Johnson-Houghton was saying on the podcast a few weeks ago that the late great Aga Khan had a saying, those good bloodlines always come back. Now, it's not really going to work out with this fella because he's going to be going over jumps, but he's got a lot of potential, and I'd rather side with him. Plus, there used to be an angle in juvenile hurdle races that you just side with whatever the Aga Khan horses are, that they'd excel, and it's just a very different world now. Now you're looking at national hunt-bred French horses instead, but I'd say there's a lot of upside for this fella, and it's very interesting that Skelton is giving him his debut in a listed race as opposed to taking it easy with him. So, yeah, I'd side with him, 9-4. I wasn't going to have a bet in this race. Now I might have been suckered into it, Andy Newton.
He's now in the scumbag. He's
in the scumbag. Look, he's 63 all of a sudden.
He's himself in. Yeah, look, it's obvious stuff, but I think the betting's going to tell us a bit of a story about the Skelton horse. We just don't know how it's schooled or jumped, and we know it's a decent flat horse. It won the Galway Festival, I think, for Johnny Murtagh. So we shall see. But George made a good point. He's probably pitching it in at this level, first time out. Must quite like it, but it's worth pointing out, Mr. Nicholls does like this race. He's won 4 of the last 7, boys. So even though that Treasure Planet, I mean, look, he was visually impressive last time, won by half the track. It was a bit novice-y, that's the only problem. But in a race he does like to win, he obviously thinks that this Treasure Planet, is going to land gold, so to speak, with the name. So, I'm just going to stick with the Nicholls, basically purely on his good record in this race. But let's just see what happens on the day with the betting with the Skelton horse. If it comes down, then probably get a bit more worried.
Monmoral did us a massive favour in the Pertemps last year, and he won this race in 2020. So maybe Treasure Planet is going to be the Pertemps winner, the Tony Keenan Pertemps winner in a few years' time. Peter Michael, who are you with?
Yeah, I think you said, Emmet, if I'm right, it's a race that you're just probably going to watch rather than have a bet on. I might be the same. I mean, it's hard to know. Edelac, obviously, is making his hurdles debut, so we don't know, how he's going to jump. But obviously, he must be jumping well to be put into this race. Treasure Planet was quite impressive the last time, but the horse that was second ran today, and he didn't do much for the form. Now, I know there was 18 lengths between them, but I think that day the JP horse might have even been, 100% fit, if I remember rightly. Let me just see if that was his first run of the season. Sorry, because I do remember that he drifted out, but then a bit of money came for him again. Yeah, it was his first run of the season, and he just ran as if he was a horse that wasn't fit. But I would have expected a better performance from him today than he gave. But look, Andy's just given Paul's record in this race, and that's a very, very revealing fact for a race of this nature. I was looking at the Irish horse Russell Sullivan sends over. I think it's BB Moose. He's only ran twice over hurdles. He won Gorman, and he didn't run a bad race at all in Down Royal. I mean, that winner's a good animal, and he's gone on to win since. Scarlet Moon, again, another 80 horse around the 18 marks in the flat, twice over hurdles, third and then won. So he can't be ruled out either. And then there's one there, I think, time.But, 25-1. He's only ran one race of his life, behind a very well-backed winner, L'Eau du Sud, who won again today. So he might be worth a 5 or a 10 at that odds, because it's that type of race. There's so much unknowns. You don't know. Yeah, look, it's not a race I'm going to be betting in, but if I was putting up a bit of value, I'd probably go with the Irish horse, BB Moose, and something on time.But.
Okay, this episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, the more than 7,000 events for you to get stuck into every single day. Crucially, fast withdrawals. That's what it's all about. New customer sign-up offers. There's loads of them there. There was an incredible one for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which if you took advantage of it, well done you. The link to the 1xBet site in Ireland is available in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all good podcast apps. You can click that. It'll take you right to 1xBet in Ireland. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. Click the link in the episode description. It will take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. Best of luck if you are betting with them, particularly this weekend. We're going to go to Sandown for the 225. We've got the handicap hurdle to talk about, and this is nap of the weekend material. Spoiler alert, nap of the weekend runs. Knickerbocker Glory has won 4 times off a layoff of 60 days or more. He's won 6 times going right-handed, 6 times on a flat track. He won this last year, and he's going to take an awful lot of beating. How far does Knickerbocker Glory win at 9-4? George Gorman.
You've got to stop leading me in like that, because every single time I'm on a different horse.
No, George.
Just for me, Glyn Bray is up £5 for his win Sandown last time over 4 furlongs further, his seasonal reappearance. But because that was a conditional jockeys race, Toby McCain-Mitchell is able to claim an extra £2 here. So he's effectively only £3 higher, and obviously ought to improve for his seasonal debut. While he has to step down in trip, that last win was on good soft ground. This will be on soft, verging on heavy. Ought to mitigate the difference. In addition, his first 4 career victories all came on soft or heavy ground. And I think he could still be well treated in terms of horses at bigger prices if you were more each way inclined. Katira last ran the handicap off £9 lower when beating Django Bay at Aintree. Harry Atkins' £7 claim means she's effectively £2 higher than she was that day. She started her season in great heart, beating subsequent fighting 5th winner Golden Ace by 28 lengths at Wetherby, receiving just £2. So whatever that form's worth, I don't know. But look, she was beaten far enough at Ascot the last time, but I think she still ran to her mark in Grade 2 company. She was only a length and a half behind Potter's Charm. Equally, she is a 3-time winner on soft ground, so she should handle the going there as well. But as a Glyn Bray is the selection.
Have you backed her for the champion hurdle yet?
No. I won't be.
Mad stuff. Andy Newton.
George, we're not getting a lowdown on your horse here. No, the old.
Yeah, you can if you want. He's he'll I don't know. He's a burly horse these days. I don't know if he'll maybe need the run a little bit. Like he could well do, but he's been in a long time. Like he's been in as long as most of them. I think he's probably more of a chaser these days. I think it'd be fair to say. Like his last win was over fences, so look, it'd just be good to have him back, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
2 wins at the track, 2 places. He obviously his best form is right-handed. He has won 3 times at this time of year. We're talking about Goshen, by the way.
His best form's right-handed might be the biggest understatement in the history of racing. You run him left-handed, he runs off the track.
Were you still working with Henry when Goshen ran in the Pontchartrain Champion Hurdle and Jason the Militant ran in it? Were you in Gary's?
I might have been... No, I was at Henry's when he ran in the Triumph.
Okay.
The very first thing that Rachel said to me when she got there, she said, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" Everything. And she goes, so how do I get this Goshen beat then? And I said, I think she was on Aspire Tower, I think. And I said, you can't get Goshen beat. Only Goshen can get Goshen beat. And it couldn't have ever proven to have been more true.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. I meant he might run too keen. I didn't mean what bloody happened, obviously. But
Jesus, that was a freak what happened.
Crazy stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I watched it in Lisduggan.
Okay, Andy, who's going to win? Who are you with?
Dance and Glance can't have that because I'm not sure about the ground, but the form of that Alexi's obviously been franked last time with the Great Wood. Glyn Bray, interesting, but up £5, and I think the second's been beaten since in that race. It won last time, so that would be the worry there. So look, I think Skelton, he's got 3 in this, and Knickerbocker Glory surely is going to get the ice cream money here, isn't it? Come on, it was smashed off the balls last year in this, went off 13-8 or something silly. The rain has come. It goes well fresh, right? It's record fresh. 2022 first, 2023 first, 2024 first. So yeah, and I think his other one at a big price, that Honky Tonk Highway, might improve from last time. It ran in that Ludor race at Bangor, probably needed that, but has won at the course as well before. So yeah, you could have the forecast, but yeah, Knickerbocker Glory, can't see it being 11-4.
Don't complicate your mind. Easy game. Knickerbocker Glory in every single multiple. Peter Michael.
Yeah, I mean, his record is very, very, very good, fresh. So that's a big, big positive. And obviously, the Skeltons want to win everything they can. So he definitely has to be top of the list. And 11-4 could be a big enough price for him. You have to respect Glyn Bray, the one George mentioned. I mean, he's won 3 out of his last 4. So clearly improving. Look, it's not a race there's anything that sticks out to me. I wouldn't rule out, even though it's 2 miles and it is on the short side, I wouldn't rule out one of Skelton's other horses, Kataria. I mean, if you take his form literally beaten, Colton Hayes.
Come on now.
By 28 lengths.
Come on
I know,
now.
Manny Messes. No, but I wouldn't rule her out. I'd like, she's running off 145 and Harry Atkins is taking off 7. I think if I'm right, the last time she ran in a handicap, I've probably got this wrong, but the last time she ran in a handicap, she ran off 136 and she beat Django Bay and she beat him, and that was 2 miles 4. So, I mean, I am worried about the 2 miles. And In the Waterside was there as well behind them. So she hasn't run in too many handicaps. So she's running off 145 less 7, so 138. The trip is probably on the sharp side, especially around Sandown for her. But I could see her out running 12, 14-1, whatever price she is. But more than likely, Skelton's going to, his best chance is going to be with Knickerbocker Glory. So I'd say he's probably the one to beat. But I'd be, putting something small each way on Kataria, around 12, 14-1.
Some crack if that Golden Ace form line pops up yet again for the second Saturday in a row. All right.
He must be the luckiest horse in training, really.
Well done to them. You got to be in it to win it.
Absolutely,
well done to them.
absolutely.
They won a champion hurdle. They won a fighting fifth. She's a dual Grade 1 winner. She's a dual Cheltenham Festival winner. Well done to him.
Absolutely.
That horse wins the champion hurdle again this season. I don't know. Dear me. It's great. Get Goshen in it, George. Put Goshen in the champion hurdle. He'll have a chance this year. My goodness. All right, Becher Handicap Chase. Where do we even begin? Mr. Van Gogh. Well done, BHA. Making sure he can't run in the Grand National when he's an absolute proper national horse. Well done, BHA. Genius stuff yet again from you lot. Mark of 152 is going to be tough on him in this race, though, particularly on his first run off a layoff of 266 days. But he's a really lovable horse. Jack Tudor obviously gets on very well with him. He's 2 from 2 overstaying trips. 3 from 3, in fact. London National, big race at Haydock, the Midlands Grand National as well. If you back him, you're going to get a good run for your money. But is he going to be able to do it off top weight on this ground, George?
No, this one's fairly easy for me. I was with Gaborio in the Sefton, and like the way he ran that day, like they just went a half a stride too quick for him the whole way. He kept making little mistakes at his fences before staying on well, but clearly, absolutely flat to the mat, staying on well into second. I think a little further, ought to improve his jumping, ought to bring his stamina into it. He gets to run here off just £1 higher. And we know he's going to stay because he won the Cheltenham Hunter Chase meeting 4-miler a couple of seasons back. So I think I can't back anything but him off the basis of that. One, if it did chuck it down with rain, one that comes into it for me is Val Dancer, the Welsh national winner. He's only £4 higher than when winning the Welsh national. And while he's disappointing on his 2 subsequent starts, both of them came on good to soft. 5 of his 6 career wins have come on soft or heavy. He's had a run. He has had a run this season, hasn't he? Yeah, he's had a run this season. I think 16-1 will probably be too big about a Welsh national winner in this race off 10 stone 6. Should he get soft or heavy ground?
Andy Newton.
Yeah, there's the trends here to sort of latch onto. 17 of the last 22 ran the last 7 weeks, which is against Mr. Van Gogh, hasn't been out, but it does go well fresh. That 18 of the last 22 have just had 0 to 1 run this season. So again, that one sort of Mr. Van Gogh falls down, and then 17 of the last 22 carried 10 stone 12 or less, which again, Mr. Van Gogh falls down. I mean, it's worth pointing out is that I think the sponsors have put up a £500,000 bonus for this as well. If it goes on, any horse goes and wins. So it's a bit of a carrot there, whether any of them do. I think there might have been a horse that came 4th that won this not too long ago. Was it Walk in the Mill or something like that? Yeah. Anyway, so I don't think any horse has ever done it in the same season. There's been a few sort of different seasons. Anyway.
Yeah, that £500,000 is safe, I'd say.
Did Black Appalachia win this and then finish 2nd?
Yes.
Would that be the closest one's gone?
Yeah.
Maybe. Back in the day, but this race only been going since '92, so it's fairly new actually. Anyway, but look, I think George's one that you mentioned, Gaborio's interest. It's worth pointing out. I think it's running £1 out of the handicap, which is nothing really. Gets in here with still a lightweight 10 stone 2, and the longer trip should suit. Run 3 times over the fences before, hasn't won over them, but been placed a couple of times. But I think White Rhino could improve on its run last time in Sefton. I think it got hampered by a horse. That's the other Green Augurio one as well. So that experience would be good. But it could just be another one for the Skeltons.
Yes!
Boys. This Galia Della Toe. I mean, look, Skelton the other day, he was literally saying, he's got it so well, and it's the best he's ever got it, and it's training.
He said that a million times.
Let the man speak.
But this, I mean, look, 84 grand up for this one. He's going to want this pot for his trainer battle with Mullins, who is nowhere to be seen at the moment. But Tristan Durrell, the man of the moment, who won the Hennessy last week, takes the ride, £3. But look, it was 8th in the Grand National, boys. Right, comes in here. £12 lower, put Tristan's claim on it. That's £15 lower than it when it came 8th in the National. Heavy ground's fine. It's won twice on heavy. So, yeah, look, this will go off favourite, all right? We called it last week. We're going to do it again. This will go off favourite, this Galia Della Toe, right? It's almost there now. It's not exactly a massive call like last week's, because that was like 16-1.
18.
18, so that was bizarre. This one's only a couple of points off being favourite anyway, but I do generally think that once people latch on to, Tristan Durrell's making a name for himself, the Skelton factor, and once people realise that this horse is £15 lower than it ran 8th in the Grand National last year, we're looking at a new favourite for the Becher here, boys.
Galia Della Toe was 8-1 a couple of days ago. She's 1 off 145. She's been rated 146. She's down to 134. She gets Christian Durrell back on board. Not beaten too far after 232 days off at Carlisle 34 days ago. So she's had her prep run. Very shrewd connections. Pulled up in the Midlands National last March. That's not ideal, but went off 11-1. Same SP as the winner of that race, Mr. Van Gogh, the current favourite for the race, who ran off 12 stone that day, runs off 12 stone in this race. Galia Della Toe ran off 11 stone 8 that day. Now she runs off 10 stone 10. This is Jover. Galia Della Toe. Easy game. Stick her in all your multiples. Peter Michael.
This is deja vu, lads. It really is from last week with TT Quanto, when you boys are absolutely spot on. Andy, this was our favourite. I know it's a million miles away, but Jesus, we'll have to start calling you Mystic Andy, especially after last week. Last week's one was sensational.
Oh, it's not just me, is it?
Yeah, no, you boys picked it, but I think you said it would go off favourite. I mean, that was inspirational stuff. Anyway, look, I'm going to go with George here. I was with Gaborio as well the last time. He ran a lovely race. He had the season before that. I thought he was a bit disappointing. I thought he would go on to have a good season. But he started the season very, very well. And I'm hoping he can build on that, because if he can, I think he's got a race or two in him, and it could be a race of this nature. I thought he could have been given a slightly better ride last time, but look, it was his first race of the season, so you have to factor that in. I think he'll run a solid race, and I can see him, not being a million miles away. So he'd be the one I'd put up, and I'd put something small as well in the total outsider Twig. I just think his price is wrong. I'm not saying he'll win, or I'm not saying he'll run a big race, but he's around 25 to 1, 33 to 1, 33 to 1 actually. I'd have him more around 14 or 16 to 1 shot, so he's a bit of value.
All right.
I'd take a match bet here.
Oh, hang on.
No, I don't know. But I never chicken out of one. But the boys are not going to take.
This is the first time since Manxman I've been in on one. I think Gallia Dilettante will fall out the back of the telly.
See, I should have just bluffed.
Nah. I'm not interested in a match bet. But hey,
But Emma, you guys looked so cool the last time.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Do it to lose to look cool again.
At least it's the time of year for leather jackets.
No, thanks. But I'll remind George when Gallia Dilettante is in the winners' enclosure. I'll remind him in the WhatsApp group on Saturday, and then you can be absolutely certain that Andy and I will both needle him and remind him the entire way through the Thursday preview as well. Very briefly, the handicap hurdle at Aintree, the 3:15. Does anybody like anything in this race? Because I had no interest in it whatsoever.
Let me just bring it up here.
I could go very briefly. I think active authority going back down in trip will be a huge advantage. 2 bad runs over 3 miles. Last time running over 2 mile 4 was when he finished second in the Martin Pipe behind very well handicapped Woodrow. He was off 134 that day. Lewis Saunders' claim he's effectively off 133 here. He's also 1 from 1 over course and distance and a 3 times winner on soft ground. So it'd be active authority for me.
Okay. I might just follow you in blind. Andy?
It's not a race. I think it's a tricky one. I think active authority is not the worst shout, based on its Martin Pipe second to Woodoo. But the one I came down on, and it's pretty boring, was probably the favourite actually. That this Bear Market is a course winner. I was quite impressed with its last time. I think it's an ex-Hendo horse that's gone to Mel Rowley, and only because Mel Rowley's got a decent strike rate here of his hurdlers. I think I mentioned it last time when Aintree was on 38% strike rate of his hurdlers here. So yeah, Bear Market. It's only had, I think, 4 runs over hurdles. It's won 2 of them, so there might be more to come, I think.
Okay, Ollie Murphy's won this race twice in the last 5 years. Can he do it again with active authority, Peter Michael?
Nothing here stands out for me.
All right, moving on. No one cares. We're gonna wrap it up, baby. We're gonna wrap it up to the London National. Oh, this is over, isn't it? Isn't there just a blindingly obvious horse in this race, George Gorman?
I can go through them. Favourite is a 9-year-old on a career high mark. Second favourite, Os Brewster. The ground's wrong for him. Third favourite, Tanganyika, is trained by Venetia Williams, who can't buy a winner at the minute.
Yeah.
Hung Jury's best form's all at Cheltenham. If you look at his form on more staying tracks in point to points, for a horse of his rating, he was beaten on every run at Lark Hill, which is a right-handed staying track like this. Rivers Corner would maybe be of interest, but has done his winning at a lower grade than this. For me, it's actually our horse. It's Invincible Naya. He's won the Sussex National narrowly from the previous year's winner, Dom of Mary, off £4 lower than this over this trip. They pulled miles clear of the third. Previous visits to Sandown, 2-5-1. The 5th came when running over 1.5 on his seasonal debut. He won very narrowly on his seasonal debut here this year, but he beat an odds-on favourite over 2 mile 4, a trip that's obviously well short of his best, so you can mark that up. All of his victories previous to that came on soft and heavy ground as well. I think this is the first time he's got his Goldilocks conditions. He's got his favourite track, his favourite trip, his favourite ground. I think he'll be very hard to beat. Briefly, Andy.
Invincible could be invincible. O'Connor will be hard to keep out of the frame, but I think at a price, it's a shame there's not one more runner. I think Rivers Corner was the one that George touched on. I think that run third last time at Exeter was decent, over a trip too short. Will come on for it. It's only had 4 runs over fences. Tizard Powell having a great season. Rivers Corner looks way overpriced at 10 to 1 to me.
Peter?
For me, I think O'Connell's the most solid one here.
Thank you. Finally.
I'd put him up. Very decent horse over staying distances, and the ground's going to be pretty soft. So, and he's had a run. So O'Connell from here, I mean, you should be getting a very good run for your money with him.
It's such a pain that there's only 7 runners. Such a pain. He's an absolute solid moral to be placed at least, but I think he'll win. This race should suit him really, really well. Caught your eye at Carlisle. Took your eye out the way he stayed on that day. And I know he's 9, but I think he's going to be ideally suited. It's Gavin's Sheehan special to round off Saturday. Okay, O'Connell for both Peter and I in the last race. There's a couple of races on Sunday that are interesting. Peterborough Chase was just alluded to by George that Venetia Williams can't buy a winner at the moment. Jello is our only winner of the season so far, and he's back again for the Peterborough Chase, which you'd like to think... Sorry, apologies. That was Russian disinformation. How dare I? Venetia Williams has had 2 winners this season. Jello was the first of them, though. He's going to be a short enough price. Jonbon is still in there, which is intriguing. St. Sam is still in there, which is intriguing. Be disappointed if Jello didn't win, though, George.
Yeah, you'd have to be, but again, with the trainer's form, I couldn't back him at 4-6.
Yeah.
Especially with the lurking, resurgent hitman in there as well, who I also wouldn't back with anyone else's money. It's a watching brief for me, but I'd expect Jello to win. But like I said, trainer's form plus price equals no bet.
Imagine if Hitman bravely fought off Jello. It's like, who is this horse? Is this just one of those things where it's a completely different horse and they're not scanning him properly beforehand? It doesn't make any sense. And we're going to see Majborough back in the Hillyway Chase and Sunday in Cork as well, which should be a lot of fun. Found at 50 is obviously race fit and did us a big favour on the Final Furlong podcast a couple of weeks ago. Another one for you. I'm sure you've hit the like button on this episode. There's no way you're getting all this information for free and you haven't smashed a like on this video. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, including the Gavin Lynch special, which is coming your way very, very soon. Literally, Leah's doing the edit on that as we speak. And loads more specials coming your way too. And W's in the chat, obviously. Of course, you've done all that for us. Energamine, possibly his final season. Be great to see him in the winners' enclosure. 9-2. And last year's King George winner, and a horse who might very well have won this race a year ago, had he not tumbled at the last Banbridge an 8-1 shot. Any interest in the Hillyway or the Peterborough? Andy Newton?
I think the Peterborough is just to watch your breed. You can't really back Jello at 4-6. Should win. I mean, it's looking to become the first back-to-back winner since Racing Demon back in 06, 07, and just from Henrietta Knight, who's the equal most trainer in this with Hendo, I think. So should win, shouldn't he? And hopefully can sort of kickstart some kind of Venetia sort of December bandwagon going. We'll see. And the Hillyway looks interesting with Majborough and so on, and they'll find out a bit more about sort of Banbridge and 14-1 for the King George, whether that's going to be the route they take again or not. And Energamine, no horse has ever won that, I think 4 times. So Energamine, if that stays in the race, we'll be going for that record as well. So loads of Cheltenham / King George clues coming up.
Willie Mullins having won just the 9 of the last 10 runnings of the Hillyway Chase.
And 16 in total, I think, or something stupid.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But if you can get to Cork, you absolutely should.
Elliot never won it. Elliot's never won it. So he could if found 50.
Hey, listen, that was all over found 50 the last day. Not this time. Okay, any other business for the weekend? The only other horse that I really want to highlight is Sober Glory, who he's going to be a short price, but he'll win. I think he's a very, very talented horse. He's going to run on the Claremont Novices Hurdle, the listed race, 12:10 Sandown on Saturday. Stick him in your multiples. Don't complicate your mind. Easy money. I hope. I'm really excited about that horse. I think he's going to do very well this season. He'll hopefully take this. And then the Grade 1 on Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day. Anything else for you, George Gorman?
Yeah, just briefly on the Hillyway. Found 50s, clearly better right-handed, receives weight, match fit. I think he takes some beating. The ground's gone against Banbridge.
I think, and Majborough will be jumping out to his right.
Exactly. I think that it might be his Gold Cup. Do you know what I mean? And in the last at Sandown on Friday, I've quite fancied Galactic Charm of Gary's at 20-1. He's second on both his previous starts at Sandown. Freddie Mitchell's £5 claim means he's £4 lower than when beaten half a length on his last visit to the track. It's a 4-year-olds only handicap hurdle as well, which will help. I think he's quite a nice horse and he's been going quite well at home. Any
other business, Andy Newton?
No, not really, but it's probably just worth mentioning that you have got the Welsh national trial at Chepstow on Saturday as well. So there's some interesting clues there. You've got the JP horse, a work in progress, is putting its win record on the line there. So that's favourite around 11-8. But no, nothing else really, apart from the naps we'll come on to.
Peter?
No, we're still at that time of year, Just have to
All right.
be a little bit cautious.
Naps are coming up next. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet in Ireland. If you want to bet in Ireland, you want to get a proper bet on with a new bookmaker, 1xBet will look after you. More than 7,000 markets for you to be getting stuck into every single day. Fast withdrawals, new customer sign-up offers, loads of incentives. Click the link in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you're listening to this episode. Click the link there. It'll take you right to the 1xBet website. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds. Your 1xBet. Your nap of the weekend, George Gorman, is...
Well, I can hardly talk up the match bet and then not have him as my nap. So it's got to be Gaborio in the Becher Chase. Next best would be Invincible Neo in the London National, narrowly beating out the Lord Maid.
Peter Michael, your nap of the weekend is...
Well, yeah, I wouldn't consider anything a nap of the weekend, but Kikijo and O'Connell, out of the races we've previewed, would be my main two I'd be putting up. Kikijo and O'Connell. We'll go Kikijo as the nap each way, and O'Connell as the NB.
Andy Newton, hold my tough, because everybody wants to know what your nap is going to be, so I'm going to make them wait a little bit longer. My lucky 63/Super Heinz is going to be... Lulamba, I mean, he has to win. I know he's odds on, but we'll go for him. Knickerbocker Glory is probably the nap of the weekend. Gallia de la Toe, for sure. You're wrong, George. The boys have talked me into Kikijo, who is my horse, so I'll take that. Happy days. Il Etait Temps, if we get even money on Saturday, he'll go in. And I think O'Connell's got a huge chance. It might just become a Super Heinz with Sober Glory, because I'm pretty certain he's going to win. Andy Newton, what is your nap?
Well, I think we're aligning this week, and Knickerbocker Glory was the nap that's written down here. So we're doubling up. We're double napping up on the ice cream horse. Win the race for the second year in a row. We've talked about his fresh record. I think Treasure Planet in the 205 Aintree, again, because of the Nichols record. We talked about that one. And the next best, though, we're going to take George on with Gallia de la Toe in the Becher. It could be a GD. Look, I do like Gaborio, but it may be a reverse forecast. We'll see. But GG, one way or the other.
Okay. I'm just going to recap the multiple again, just for the sake of it. Il Etait Temps / Jonbon. The fourth one, Jonbon, just has to be a muggy bet. But Il Etait Temps, if we're getting even money on Saturday morning with 1xBet, I think that's very fair. 3 o'clock Sandown. Kikijo, 120 Sandown. Lulamba, 150 Sandown. Knickerbocker Glory, 225 Sandown. Nap. Gallia de la Toe, 240 Aintree. Next best. O'Connell, 335 Sandown. Sober Glory, 1210 Sandown. Oh, hopefully we'll see you in Dubai, or at least Temple Bar in Dublin. One or the other. From George Gorman, Andy Newton, and Peter Michael, thank you very much for watching and listening to this episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, likes are much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're back with you on Monday. There's a special with Gavin Lynch coming your way as well, recorded live from the Curragh, from all the lads and from me. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again next weekend. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.